This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Oh gosh, this is not. Just trying to get the video to pin it. Oh, there. All right. Sorry, I'm really not winning with it. Technology tonight. Hi everybody, I'm Erin for those of you who haven't met before. This is my first little virtual back after a little bit of a break, having twins. So thanks for joining me. We'll just see.
Hi Erin.
Find my groove. Hi Gail, thanks so much for joining.
That's okay.
We just got a really quick little virtual. We're going to make some cinnamon scrolls and some chai latte as well, making our chai powder from scratch. So we're going to get straight into it. I'm just going to pin the other screen.
Do you want me to turn my audio off?
It should be all right, I think, because I've spotlighted it. As long as everyone can see the Thermomix and it's not jumping around. Pop it in the chat box if it's causing a problem, anyone, and we'll fix that. But anyway, we're going to get started. If you've got any questions as we're going, please pop them in the chat box or come off mute. There's only a small group of us, so yeah, feel free to come off mute and have a chat as well. I don't mind at all. So obviously this is, I think nearly everyone on tonight is a Thermomix owner. Maybe one or two of you that aren't. Sorry, Gail, I might actually mute you. It's a little bit distracting, if that's all right. So yeah, pop it in the chat box if you have a Thermomix, what model you have, or if you don't have one, just pop it in there and let us know. So what we're getting started with today is our home screen of our TM6. So these are our basic functions of our time, temperature and speed. If we scroll across to our right, we would find all of our different modes that are getting added to all of the time as well. And if we scroll across to the left, we bring up Cookadoo, which is our virtual recipe platform. So we're actually going to go into these three little bars up the top and go into my week because I've planned out what we're going to cook tonight. So you can see what we have for dinner, the creamy tomato and salami fettuccine. Those of you who have a Thermomix, have you made that before? It is delicious. If you haven't made it, you need to make it. Pop it on your meal plan. It is really good. Great one with some packed full of veggies and delicious as well. So give it a go if you haven't before. But tonight we're making our cinnamon buns. So I'm just going to tap on that one and it brings up our recipe page. So if I scroll down, I can have a look at the recipe if I wanted to, the ingredients on the side. If I went all the way to the bottom, I can find our hints and tips section. So it's handy to sometimes have a read of that one. So if there's anything that you want to change or anything like that. Otherwise, we're just going to scrub up to the top and we're going to hit start cooking. So I have actually done the first couple of steps of this recipe. It kind of makes like a starter, but it has to sit and cool for 10 minutes. So I'm just going to walk us through the first couple of steps, which I've already done. So it's just 80 grams of water, hitting next, 80 grams of milk, next 30 grams of plain flour, popping the lid on and then cooking that. So 3 minutes, cooks at 80 degrees, and you would turn the seed selector to 3. And what I will show you from here is if you can see, I'm not sure on there, above the 80, there's a 40 at the moment. So that 40 is just your active temperature of your bowl ingredients. So because it's been sitting for the 10 minutes and cooling down, the ingredients are now at 40 degrees. So then, yeah, allow it to cool in the mixing bowl for approximately 10 minutes. So you can see that's cooled down in there. It's more of a solid kind of cool. The next step is to lightly grease a bowl and set it aside. I've already done these couple of things. And then we've got 170 grams of milk. I'll just grab that out of the fridge. So we're just going to watch our scales. We can tear them if we need to. Our scales on our TM6 are accurate to 1 gram instead of the 5 of the previous models. So a lot more sensitive. And slowly pour straight into the bowl. Next, 2 eggs. Again, just cracking them straight in. a little bit of shell. Oh. Has anyone made these cinnamon scrolls before, or a variation of them? They are delicious. So 10 grams of yeast. So again, just watching those scales. Next, 90 grams of unsalted butter, softened. So I've just had that sitting out of the fridge for a few minutes. So again, straight in there. Next, and then we're going to put it on. Next again, and then we've got 20 seconds, so we're just combining it on this one, 20 seconds, and turn the speed selector to 4. You burnt the berry. That's not good. Were they salvageable? So next after that is 500 grams of baker's flour. So again, just weighing straight in and watching your scales there.
Oh my God. You're not stop.
Making a mix. Next, 30 grams of milk powder. These are quite like a dense scroll, really. There's a couple of different variations. I often make one that's more a bit bready, but these are almost like a bit of a brioche type bread, which is delicious. We had a catch up with some of our Thermomix team yesterday, and our team leader made these, and the only problem with these is that it's hard to stop at one. They're so delicious. You really need to be making them to share. So next again, so now we've got it set for us. So it's selecting our dough mode, our kneading mode automatically for us. So it's got 3 minutes 50. And then we just turn the speed selector once to start that. And that's going to knead that to perfection for us. So I want to just show you. I'm just going to come back a little bit. You'll be able to see. You'll be able to see that Thermomix is sitting on our glider board. So the glider board is brand new to our mix shop and is one of our new limited time host rewards. So I know a couple of you on tonight are keen to get that. But you'll see it stops. Absolutely no movement in it. While Thermomix is moving, while it's kneading, it can go around a little bit that you might have seen before. I'll mute you, sorry. So it can jump around a little bit on the bench. So this gliding board, you'll see the Thermomix itself is having a bit of a wobble, but its feet are locked pretty firmly into the glider board. So it's actually not moving at all on my bench. And then I can't even move the glider board while it's doing it. So moving it back and forth. So I know a few of you are keen for the glider board. So thanks for bringing some guests. And if anybody else watching wants it, let me know. We can help organise that. At the moment, they are recommended retailer for nearly $150 in the mix shop. At the moment, you can grab one for $50 if you bring 2 guests, including a non-TM6 owner to a virtual or in-home. Or if somebody happens to decide to invest in it, Thermomix, you get it for free, which is even better. So really cool new product that you guys are going to love. So we've got, kneading there. So 2 minutes of kneading in our Thermomix is equivalent to about 20 minutes of hand kneading. So so what do we have there? Nearly 4 minutes of kneading instead of 40 minutes of kneading by hand. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't be doing that. What's everyone's favourite bread recipe or dough to make in their Thermomix? Pop it in the chat box and let me know. Do you make, well, I know there's a couple of you that have made these scrolls. Anybody make other scrolls, savoury scrolls, or maybe Nutella or something like that? There's so much you can do with scrolls, isn't there? Make lots of breads and dough. So I think the dough mode is probably one of my most used function. Cheese and bacon, yes, Wendy. Yeah, it just makes amazing bread products every time, doesn't it? It's fantastic. We make cheese and bacon rolls, all kinds of rolls. Wraps are very popular in our house. What else is everyone making? Roshi, naan, so many options. So I've got about a minute left of kneading there. I'll just show you a couple of other little tips while it's going on our screen. So I'm going to move a bit closer. So one of our newer updates is the preview button on our Team 6. So we can hit preview and have a look at the upcoming steps if we wanted to while that's going. We can walk through it and see what's next and what we could do. And then you just hit where we're up to at the top there, and I'll take you back to the screen. We've also got our 3 little dots here, which open a couple of things. So we've got open preview, which brings us back to that same preview screen. We've got recipe detail, which takes us back to that full recipe at the start. So if you want to have another read, see what recipes you've got, anything like that. What's going on? See what's up and coming, same kind of thing. You can do that, and you can either again hit the top or hit continue. We've got the scales there. You can't actually access the scales while you're kneading because it's moving around. But if you're cooking something else that is just using some general cooking time, you can access your scales while it's cooking through that button. Or if you wanted to, for some reason, to cancel your recipe, you've got an option there as well. So all of that generally, depending on what mode you're using, is accessible while you're cooking or doing a step. So we're just going to hit next, and that's our dough done already. So I'll show you that. Oh, the lighting's not fabulous. I might come over to this one. So that is our dough. All done already. Five or so minutes. I'll plus that 10 minutes of cooling time at the start. So not much hands-on time at all. And so if we went back, sorry, I'm going to jump around for a second. Oh, it's not allowing me. I'm really not enjoying this. Computer shut up. So if we go back to our screen, it's going to walk us through every little step. So now it's going to tell us to place it on a silicone bread mat or floured surface and work into a ball. And then place it in that bowl that it told us to oil before, cover it and set aside in a warm temperature to double in size about 45 minutes. And meanwhile, continue with the recipe. So we will do just that. And we're going to grab another bowl. I'll just cover that one up. I'll just grab my second bowl. And now we're just going to make that cinnamon sugar for the inside. So cinnamon sugar and butter mix. So we're putting in 250 grams of brown sugar. So again, just measuring it straight out of the container from the pantry into there. Two tablespoons of ground cinnamon. So you could adjust this if you wanted to make it a bit more, or a bit less if you like cinnamon, if you're not really a fan. Always remember that guided cooking is just a guide. So if you want to change it to suit you and what you like, what you don't like, feel free to adjust it. So next, and I'm going to, so I'm going to skip these are optional, cardamom and cloves. I'm just going to skip them because I just want basic cinnamon, butter, sugar. And then 150 grams of butter. So straight in there again. Pop belly on. Next. And now it's got to, again, set for us. So 40 seconds, turn the speed selector to full. Anyone anyone got any questions or anything so far, please feel free to pop in the chat box, or you guys just have a little bit of chat there between yourselves. Next again. And so now it's just telling us to place it in a bowl, set it aside, and then we're going to do the icing. So we'll keep going. So it says clean and dry, but I've got quite a few bowls. So I'm just going to not put that one in a separate bowl and then just grab another clean bowl. I should show you first, sorry, shouldn't I? What that's done to our... So that's our butter, cinnamon and sugar. So it's like in a nice, I'll make one in a minute to show you, but nice spreadable consistency to make it nice and easy for our scrolls. So pop that all together, mix it nice and easily. Milk powder, it's just, yeah, to buy it from the shops, you can get it in different, oh, I'm in the wrong screen now, different bags, but it's just like literally like a powder. All right, so next bowl, keeping on moving on, we're going to put in 120 grams of caster sugar. So just again, pouring it straight in, nice and easy. Next, popping our lid on. I'm just going to grab a measuring cup. Next again, 10 seconds on speed 10. So we're going to mill that down. It might be a little bit noisy for a second. Loving the band in the chat box, guys. So that's a nice little bit of sugar smoke there. You probably can't really see it with that. So that's milled our sugar down into a nice icing sugar-like consistency. And into there, we're going to place 60 grams of unsalted butter. Plenty of butter in this recipe. It's obviously not our healthiest recipe, but sometimes you've just got to have a treat there. 60 grams of cream cheese. So that we're just making the icing part now as well. So if you're making these at home, obviously you would allow that proofing time. So you could come back and make the icing later. You don't have to do it all at once because you'd be putting it aside for that hour to proof now. And then you've got a second proof once you roll them out as well. So you don't have to do it all at once. And then half a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm not really a measurer with my vanilla. 20 grams of milk. Next, a teaspoon of lemon juice. I'm just going to give it a little squirt in there. And then we're popping the lid on again. So 30 seconds on speed 4 this time. When you're making them, Amy? Got them on your list for the week. More days off maybe. All right, and then place it in a bowl and set it aside. So that is our icing done as well. So again, I'm just going to leave it in that bowl because we don't need it again. So we've got our baking tray all ready to go. And now we're just going to walk through the actual rolling of the scrolls. So our TM6 has this new feature which they're adding to all the time as well. They're kind of uploading videos as they come. But you'll find some recipes have little videos that you can press play on. Some of them, obviously this one's a bit simpler, it's just rolling out dough into a rectangle, but some things that are a little bit more complex, or the instructions are hard to understand, you'll find a little video on there to kind of show you exactly what they want you to do. So they're adding to these all the time as well, which is really cool. So quick video to show you what to do. And then you can cancel out of that. You don't have to watch them, so you could just skip on past if you're confident with it. So it's just putting our dough onto a bread mat, working it, knocking it down, and then rolling it into a rectangle. So what I'm going to do is come across here. Right, hopefully this will work. So I've got some I prepared earlier, and I've got about half of this. So you'll see in a second that I've already rolled some, so that we had some at different stages to make it work tonight. So this is about half the dough. It is a little bit overproof, so you can kind of knock it down a bit. So we're just going to put this onto our bread mat. So our bread mats are available from the mix shop, but you can get them as a host reward as well. As a host reward, they're bundled with the, actually I just need to flour my mat a little bit. This is a nice sticky dough, so even the mat it's a good idea to flour it. You can grab it as a host reward with the oven mat as well as a bundle. So if you don't have these, I really recommend them in your life. If you like making doughs and things, they're amazing. So we're just going to give it a slight more flour, and then we're going to knock it down, and then we're just going to work it into a triangle. That might make an interesting scroll. A rectangle. So again, remembering this is just half of the dough. So usually when you're making scrolls, I find that around the shape-ish of the size-ish of the thermomat is a great size and great way to kind of work out how thick or thin to have it as well. Does not need to be perfect, so don't stress about that. Stuff a little bit there, I need a bit more flour. You love the mats. Yeah, they're so good, aren't they, Amy? I don't know how I had a TM5 for years before I joined and upgraded to the TM6, and I've always loved making doughs, and I never had the mats before, and now I don't know how I lived without them. Saves you having a big mess all over your bench all the time. Most of the time I don't even bother flouring, it's just that this is a stickier dough with that butter and milk and stuff in it, so I do for this one. So you can't see the screen of my Thermomix at the moment, but it just says the next step is to dot the dough with reserved filling and evenly spread over the surface, then roll into a log shape starting with the shortest edge. So this is my, I've got to work out where my camera angle's at. There, my filling. And I use like a little cake palette knife. I find that's the best way to spread fillings on anything. Really easy to spread them without kind of digging a knife into it and cutting your dough or anything. So again, this is only about half of the dough mixture, so I'm only going to put half of that cinnamon butter mixture on it. And then just spread it out.
Stop.
All right. Again, doesn't need to be perfect, but that's pretty good. And then The Thermomix screen actually says to roll from the shortest edge, but I personally roll from the longest, so whatever you want to do, really. You're just going to get kind of thicker scrolls, I suppose, rolling from the shorter end. So this is why the Thermomat is so amazing. Look how easy that is to roll up. It doesn't stick at all. No effort. And that is our log. So then again, if we went to the next on our screen, it says with the seam side down, mark 12 times 3 to 4 centimetre slices and carefully cut the buns. Really do whatever you want on that step. If you want big buns, cut the 12. If you want smaller ones, cut less. Do whatever you want. And again, this is only half. So technically I could get 6 of this, but I rolled it from the long end as well. So my next big tip for making scrolls is never cut on your Thermomat. You'll wreck it if you cut on that. They cannot be cut on with a knife. So I get a little chopping board and just lift up the end. Because they are non-stick, it's really easy to lift anyway. And then a serrated knife. That's my big hot tip for making scrolls. A good little serrated knife. I'll just get my tray ready. And then just a sawing action. So a lot of people tell me that they have trouble with scrolls and they squash them and they never look pretty. Your first one's never going to be pretty anyway, so we can ignore that. But if you saw them,
Yeah.
you'll find that they do look a lot prettier. So you just want to space them just with a bit of a gap. Obviously, they're going to proof, so they're going to grow a bit. So this is making significantly smaller scrolls than what the recipe calls for, but I'm okay with that because the kids are going to want to eat them. You could make them a lot bigger if you wanted to. And then you can kind of reshape them a bit if you want. Otherwise, I wouldn't stress too much. I don't ever really overthink it. And there are your scrolls. So that's your first kind of proof and cut. Again, if I'm reading the screen of my Thermomix now, it will tell me to place them on the prepared baking tray, leaving a 1 centimetre gap between each bun. I've done a bit more, but that's okay. Cover and leave to proof for 60 to 90 minutes or until buns are very puffy and touching each other. So this is the key. I never go by the time on these recipes. A lot of the cookie recipes are developed in Perth. So I think there's quite a few of us from Victoria on there. Obviously, our climates are very different and very different for proofing dough. So we often find that it takes longer to do it here. So just go off how they look and not how long they take, if that makes sense. You've got to cover them so they don't dry out. So just pop a tea towel or some cling wrap over them and leave them till they're doubled in size. You can kind of put a heat pack underneath. I sit them over some boiling water, anything to kind of make that warm, moist environment to make them proof a bit quicker. But yeah, go on how they look and not how long the recipe says. So here's some I prepared earlier. So I've had these ones sitting over some boiling water and see they're nice and puffed up. When you compare those two, these ones are now ready to bake. So they've been sitting there for that 60 and 90 minutes, puffed up, ready to go. And then I'm going to place them in a 180-degree oven for about 20 minutes, I'd say, because they're a bit smaller than the actual recipe calls for, until they're golden on the surface. So I'll just quickly pop those in. Right, and then I'm just going to quickly come back and we'll just make our chai and then we'll ice our finished product. Right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to well, we don't have to because we're using different, but I'm going to cancel out of this recipe like I showed you before. So the 3 little dots, cancel recipe. Would you like to cancel it? Yes, because we're going to make something else. Just going to cover those scrolls and pop them to the side. Now, one of my favourite updates that's been to, I lost you then, to Cookadoo since I have had my TM6 is Cookadoo 3.0 and your ability to add recipes from the recipe community. So I know those of you on with the TM5 probably use recipe community maybe sometimes a bit more than those of you that have a TM6. Oh, sorry, yes. So now with Cookadoo 3.0, we can import recipes from the recipe community. So I've already done that with our chai. If I go into my recipes, into created recipes, I've got a whole collection of recipes there that I've imported from the recipe community or added onto it manually as well. So we're going to hit the chai latte mix and chai latte. And then there's 2 different ways you can do it from here. Like it'll import and it'll come up on your screen just as it does on the recipe community, and which is what I've done today. Or you can, if you wanted to, kind of separate it into steps and make it that little bit more clearer guided cooking, whichever one you want. Recipes I use all the time, I do change into those kind of clearer steps. But this is just really like a way of not having to look at your phone for the recipe. It's just all on here rather than going back and forth with your phone or a recipe book or whatever. So I'm just going to hit start cooking. You'll see this is exactly what's on the recipe community's picture and it's got imported by Erin there. So I'm going to hit start cooking. Those of you who've got a TM6, are you using this, this feature? Are you bringing recipes across from the recipe community? Pop it in the chat box and let me know. So it's just telling us to add the sugar to the bowl and mill for 10 seconds on speed 9. So we've got a couple of options down here. The first one is like the measuring scales, I mean. So I'm going to hit those and I'll bring up all of our ingredients. And that's 75 grams of raw sugar we're going to add in. The wrong bowl. Just a bit over there. Oh, good, Amy. That makes me happy. Thanks for showing them. It's a great feature, isn't it? It really makes a big difference. So cancel out of that, and then 10 seconds, speed 9. So just pop the lid on again, and then we go into that little blade symbol there, and it brings up our settings. So if we kind of changed it like I was saying before and made it that bit simpler, it'll come up here set for us, but otherwise we just put in what it told us to. So 10 seconds, speed 9. Out of that, and then we're going back to that screen. It's telling us what to do. So add all other ingredients to the chai mix and mill for 20 seconds, speed 9. So again, that's milled that sugar down like a bit like we did earlier into like an icing sugar. And if we open it back up, we can work through these ingredients, adding them all in. So next one is 200 grams of milk powder.
What's all those ingredients?
Anyone, do you guys like chai? Pop it in the chat box and let me know. Have you made anything like this before? A lot cheaper than buying it from the shops. 2 teaspoons of ground ginger. 2 level teaspoons of cardamom ground. 2 level teaspoons of cinnamon. more, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. And half a teaspoon of ground cloves. So that is all of that part of it. So just across and then back here. So 20 seconds, speed 9 to mill it down. So again, just hitting that blade symbol and popping it in there. So 20 seconds. Another little hot tip is you can press your button to skip to the next one as well. So instead of tapping it with your finger, if I press the button, it'll go through all of the things as well. So. Read in the chat box. You guys do like a chai? But yes, you can do a chai in thermo, and we're going to do it with the milk as well, and then froth it up, so just like you would from the shops. So that is it for that done, that part of it. So that's made us our chai mix. So I'm just going to check this out with the slider board. Lift it up and slide it straight back. So excited about it. I didn't even think I'd love it that much, to be honest, and I do. So there is our chai powder. And just need spatula. So we're just going to pop that into a jar, and then we'll make our latte. So just use that. Just try not to make too much mess. I'm going to need another jar. Just pop it in a bowl for now. So that makes a huge amount. I'd say that would make about 2 of those jars. And now we're just going to skip to the next step of this, and then we're going to add our milk. So now we're going to make a latte out of it as well. So obviously I'm not going to bother cleaning the bowl because we're going to use it like that. So add as much as you want. So you could, you know, if you're cooking for a couple or making chai for a couple of people, you can add more, but about a cup of milk per serving, so about 250 mils. Yeah, depending on your glasses. And then 3 heaped teaspoons of the latte mix, and then heat it for 3 minutes, 75 degrees, speed 2. So I'll just go to that. Pour in my around about 250 grams of milk. There goes my ring light's playing up. 3 heaped teaspoons. And then we'll go back, cross out of there, and yeah, 3 minutes, 75 degrees, speed 2. So with the measuring cup on. So I'll just pop that on. So you can make any kind of coffee like this as well. If you just want to make like a, you know, a milky coffee. I've forgotten what that said already, didn't I? It's 3 minutes, 75, speed 2. You can just put in your like instant coffee, your sugar, and your milk, and then warm it up like this and give it a froth, and you've got like almost like a latte as well, which I know some people love. Right, so I'm just going to come back over here. You guys laughing at my baby brain? All right. So here are my first batch of scrolls out of the oven. And then we're just going to ice them. So the recipe does say to ice as you want to use them as well. So if you're not going to eat them all at once, which we are here, you would just ice what you want to eat, enjoy them warm, and then, you know, when you're going to eat the rest, like the next day, heat them up in the oven or microwave and then ice them as well. because it's a nice cream cheese frosting. It's nice and to have it warm. Oh, that's all right. You're not laughing at me then. That's my dough. I've got how many different bowls? 4 bowls here. I've got one with dough, one with cinnamon, butter, sugar, and one with icing. So that is it. Does anyone buy cinnamon scrolls from the bakery, or not now that you've all got thermos, I suppose? Now who's going to give these a go? I'm looking forward to you all sending me a picture of you making cinnamon scrolls in the next few days, maybe over the weekend. Yum. How good do they look? So obviously, yeah, like I said before, I've made them a bit smaller and than what the recipe calls for. You could make kind of nice, big, I don't even know what the cameras are like taller, thicker scrolls if you wanted to. Completely up to you. Like anything, I really kind of want you to remember that it's guided cooking. It's not make it to whatever you want. So that's nearly finished. Got quite a mess going on here. Just going to come back over here for a second. So you can see our red lights are up here, which means that it's hot. I'm not going to tip that out and try and show you there. Some of our mix. So if we cross out of there again, I've got flour all over the screen. That's why it's a bit sensitive. I've made a massive mess tonight. So now to froth it up, put the lid, keep the measuring cup on, lid on, gradually turning up the speed, 25 seconds to speed 8. So we'll just do that. So we'll just gradually go up. You guys are giving me a good giggle in the chat box tonight. And then out of there, and then that is done. So just going to move it back. See this? I'm so excited that a couple of you are grabbing the slider board. You're going to love it. Anybody else want fun? Let me know. We'll help you organise it. So there is our chai latte as well. My latte glass is small, so I'll probably get a couple out of that. But let's bring you down a little bit more. So there we go, a chai and some cinnamon scrolls. What are you guys having for dessert? Any questions or anything, guys? So that chai mix, like I said before, we got, I'm trying to make it fit in the camera. We got a full, probably what would have been enough for 2 full jars, I would say. I've got a whole bowl full over there as well. So certainly makes heaps. You just store it in an airtight container or a jar, something like that, and use as you like. So there you go, cinnamon scrolls, chai latte and chai mix. And I can't wait to see, can you post Uber Eats? I think you're a little bit too far away, Amy. You'll have to make them instead. All right, any questions at all, guys? Thank you so much for joining me. It's a spice chai, yeah. Taylor, yes. There are quite a few different recipes on there. I grabbed this one from the recipe community. There is one on Cookadoo as well. This one just had really good reviews. That's why I went with it. I'm about making things that I know work and are good. So that's why I picked this one. But yeah, there's like vanilla chai, all kinds of recipes on there that you can have a squeeze at. No worries, guys. Thanks so much for coming on. If you've got any questions, sing out. Yeah, feel free to send me a message or anything at all. What about the scrolls? Are they? Yeah, they are Cookadoo. Yeah, so there's a couple of recipes on Cookadoo, different scrolls. The ones I have made are cinnamon buns. I don't know if you can see that properly. Cinnamon buns on Cookadoo. So there are a couple of different versions, but that one's the only one called buns. So yeah. Perfect. All right. I can't wait to see you all making them. Please send me a picture. And if you've got any questions, just sing out. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks.